Good morning, everybody. Clear my throat. Welcome to Planet FPL Game Week 14 Deadline stream, and it's live. We are 1 hour until the deadline. As per usual, let me start by telling you the transfer move I have made to my team this week. I have sold Phil Foden. Finally, he is gone. He is dust. I have taken a punt. Very short term, a 1 week punt that might be a 2 week punt, because I am wildcarding in game week 16 and I have bought Mason Greenwood. I specifically wanted to target someone who was playing in this week. Many of the players I looked at were cheaper, sort of the Leeds boys, Wolves boys, Neto, Podence, etc. And I decided, when I looked at it and analysed it a bit more following yesterday's podcast, that the team that was best to target this week from an attacking potential was Manchester United. And it was no easy way of me getting to a Bruno Fernandes or a Marcus Rashford or even an Anthony Martial. Didn't want to be taking a hit. So I have brought Mason Greenwood in as a 1 week punt. Still leaves me about 1.4 in the bank or so to make, I think it's a bit less than that, 1.2 or 1.1 to make a transfer this week. So I'm lining up. I think it's quite strong, and I'm going to have a very strong team next week before our wild card as well. So I'm Martinez in goal over Johnston. That will probably bite me this week. Defensively, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, Ruben Diaz, Mohamed Salah, vice captain. Why is that that's my old screenshot team? I need to get hold of Phil Foden. FPL captain. Why isn't Mason Greenwood in my team? I can assure you I'm playing Mason Greenwood and not Phil Foden this game week. That's a bit of a bummer, isn't it? Jack Grealish is not my vice captain. Heung-min Son is my captain. This has gone wrong, hasn't it? Che Adams, Ollie Watkins, Dominic Calvert-Lewin are the amount of people that are going to come to me now and say, James, I think Salah's being rested. It's my bench order. This is not helpful. Is Souček, Walker Peters, Luke Ayling is the bench order. This is going to be a nightmare for me, isn't it? Oh dear, stay with it. So just sharing around links. So my man FPL captain is on the graphics, but we've appeared to have last week's screenshot on there. I'm going to message him and say, is there a way you can change it, mate? Oh dear, what a state. Bottom right hand corner, that is correct. Those are my captaincy preferences for the week. So I believe Bruno Fernandes is the best choice for captain. KDB, then Harry Kane, then Heung-min Son, Marcus Rashford. Mohamed Salah is 6th. I have no concrete evidence, in my opinion, to suggest that he's not playing. I'm going to have to explain this 100 fucking times over now. But there's enough evidence for me to not want to put the armband on him, in my opinion. So, look, it's Palace away. It's not like they're at home to bloody Sheffield United or something. So I've just moved the captaincy to Son, which obviously on the graphic, you now can't see. Right, I'll get into the questions before I do. I'm going to message my man FPL captain. See if there's anything he can do. Right, let's get into the questions. That's the main thing to help you guys, but I would probably ignore my team sheet. As I've said, for those who just joined in now, Heung-min Son is my captain this week. That's where I'm at. Mason Greenwood has been bought. Jovial's in first, says, should I transfer in Trent Alexander-Arnold or Robertson to replace Alex Telles for a cost of -4? Don't know why you'd want to do that, mate. Decent fixture for Telles. Look, Leeds are obviously potent going forward, but for a -4, no, I don't think so, mate. The Emerald Pilot says, good morning, James. Not sure what to do. I have 2 free transfers and 0 in the bank. I thought about a few potential moves. Vardy, Grealish to DCL, Rashford, or Vardy, Basuma, Diaz to Brewster, Fernandes, Taylor for a -4. Not loving the look of that final one, to be honest. You've got 2 free transfers. I'd be looking to make just only 1 if you're not sure of what you're doing in that case. And I can't see your team, and I don't want your whole team posted in here, mate. But in terms of 1 week punts, look, Manchester United is an option. If you're sitting there with Salah and you've got balls, Salah to Fernandes might be your answer. Perlo's Pen says, hello, James. Grealish to Son for a free transfer. Leaning towards yes. If you're leaning towards yes, then the advice is probably go and get it done, I would suggest. but I'm not overly keen on removing Jack Grealish with West Brom and Palace in the next two. I mean, absolutely could have returned big against Burnley in midweek. He ran the game, basically. He gave Burnley a lot more troubles than most teams actually give him. So I'm not sure I'd be keen on that. Son's got 2 difficult fixtures. I'd probably say no, actually. It's just the way it's landed for me, with me now captaining Son, is the best of what I've got. I would favour Son over the captaincy of Grealish, but I'm not sure I want to make the transfer. Next week you might feel like you want to make that back. If you're longer term and you've used the first wild card, then there's a little bit more sense in that if you need to run through Christmas. That I understand. Chris Duckworth says, morning. Matt says, morning, thinking of Justin to Robertson, Salah to KDB, thinking of Salah bench, will be wildcard in his 16. Yeah, don't mind that. Obviously, Justin's got Tottenham and Manchester United. Chances are, though, leave yourself open for Salah next week. They've got West Brom at home, and Salah is going to be monster captain next week, in my opinion. Huge. Daniel Lambert says, what's your take on the Salah rumours, James? So my take is, as what I've said, and again, this is not helpful because I'm going to have to repeat this several times over because people will join the stream, so apologies for those repeating myself. But I've taken the captaincy off Mohamed Salah. I don't have anything concrete. I'm trying to keep an eye on messages while I'm doing the stream in case I get something that's concrete. If I do, I will share that in good faith with you, but it's up to you to make decisions for your own team. But I think it's strong enough rumours that I've taken the captaincy off him. In terms of selling him, I wouldn't. I wouldn't buy him. I wouldn't sell him. I wouldn't captain him. That's generally what I'm thinking. I would only still be leaving the armband on him if you got none of that top 5. And I don't believe anyone's in that position. Planting seeds. Morning, Jimbo. Last week you told me I was mental for having Mason. Hope it works out for both of us, mate. Mane Capo today. It's not the worst, Sadio Mane, if you got none of the other guys that I've recommended. He hasn't scored in a long time, Sadio Mane. You could argue that he's due, certainly. I wouldn't say having Mason Greenwood was mental. I'd be surprised if I said it was mental. Jonathan Boland says, Richarlison for Vardy, a punt worth taking, no hit. It's not the worst because obviously walking to better fixtures next week as well. But I wouldn't force it. If it's free, it's okay. Everton quite defensive at the moment. They've obviously had good results recently against Leicester and Chelsea. It will probably be a very tight game tomorrow. The potential for Vardy is always the over-the-top potential against the stronger side, should we say, the traditional big 6. Tottenham probably won't allow that sort of space tomorrow. Manchester United might have a bit more joy against Manchester United, but Richarlison's got Sheffield United next week, so don't mind it. But I think it's very short term. They've got Manchester City the week after, West Ham, Wolves, Villa, Leicester. If you're looking longer term, is not the best run of fixtures, I would suggest. Shane Mibb, would you take out Zaha for anyone? Greenwood question. If it's short term, I don't mind it. I.e., if you've still got the first wild card. If not, I probably Mason Greenwood is only in for me because it's a very, very short term selection. Otherwise, I would not have been buying him. No way. I'm buying him because I know I can get rid of him in 2 game weeks. So that's why I've made the move. Depends on where you're at there, Shane Bibb. And this is going to go for a lot of people asking questions. Because we're so close to the forced first wild card and now towards blanks doubles, there aren't straightforward answers to questions. Savant asks a very straightforward one. Start Kilman over Cresswell. It's possible. There's obviously a doubt over Willy Bolly. If they play a back 3 again, then I guess he could play. I actually suspect that if Willy Bolly's out, Wolves might go back to a back 4 at Burnley, ironically. And I think Cresswell's delivery from set pieces means he's not a player you ever particularly want to leave out, so I'd probably still pick Cresswell, Savant. Tiffy Ferrero, bench one of Salah or Souček. Bench Souček, mate. You don't be benching Mohamed Salah. He'd come on and do the business in half hour, right? So, no, don't bench him. If he doesn't start, he doesn't start. He won't be the only one in that position. I'll be one of them as well. Lauren Harris says, morning, James. No question from me, but my partner wants to know, should she start Taylor or Sayis? She already has Patricio, so it will be either a double up or hope of a 0-0. Good luck this weekend. So you want to start Taylor or Sayis? That's not an easy one. I presume Roman Sayis stays in the Wolves team. Slightly bigger threat of him scoring from set pieces than the like. I've predicted the game to be a 0-0. So start Taylor or Sayis. Not an easy one. Taylor's got the form, hasn't he? And my Burnley correspondent, Turfy Topic, always tells me, he says, we're going to run a clean sheets at some points when you don't expect it. And we probably all just missed it. I think I'd go Sayis over Taylor. Just. Daniel Lambert says, what do you think of Rafinha and Trent for Ayling and Foden? Yeah, don't mind that at all, actually. Pushkar says, I know you told me Kane really isn't needed for the next 2 fixtures, but I'm tempted to bring him in for a hit and put the armband. How does Vardy and Justin out, Kane captain and Alioski Taylor in sound? Not brilliant, but on the immediate fixtures for Kane, yeah, I can see that. Have you got no De Bruyne, no Fernandes? I can see the temptation if you're sitting there with Salah. If you feel it, Pushkar, crack on. I'm not overly keen. Kartik Rouse has got two frees. Need to fund Welbeck to Bamford. Should I do Chilwell to 5.2 or should I do Cresswell to 4.3? Which defender? If Chilwell, 2-week punt. It's not any great ones at 4.3, I don't think. I can't say I've studied that area very recently. You don't really want to get rid of Ben Chilwell either, I don't think. Because he's very capable of attacking returns in any game at the moment. You'd probably fancy him for a clean sheet. I know you got 2 frees. You messaged me earlier and I suggested possibly rolling. I would consider Matt Target. I know you're looking to wildcard in game week 16, Kartik. That's the one I've said to you. Have a look at Matt Target. I know that's coming down further than you want to. But then you can potentially use the rest of the money with the 2 free transfers next week. But to be honest with you, I don't think you should be going Welbeck to Bamford this week. Welbeck's got Sheffield United at home, Bamford, Manchester United away. I don't know why you're trying to force that so early. It doesn't really make sense to me. So I'd reconsider that move, to be honest. Bloomer Caldera, can you do the goal celebration of Christian Benteke, please? Oh, it's I can't. I'm sitting down and the laptop is above my knees, so that would be very dangerous. But it's the knee and all that shit, isn't it? He won't be doing it this weekend. Lewis Coles, hi James, would you ditch KDB and DCL on the game week 16 wildcard? Yes, that is my current plan, Lewis. Vish, you're a legend. Thanks, Vish. Praise says, morning, James. Do you think it wise to play Kilman and leave Soufal on the bench? Possible rotation for Wolves. Good luck. That's a little bit different to the Cresswell one because of obviously the set piece delivery. It's a bit of a harder call. But my anticipation is Kilman doesn't play, so it probably doesn't matter. Haiku says, I certainly think that Mason Greenwood could bag his first Premier League hat-trick versus Leeds on the counter. Should I transfer him? And if I bring him in, then he is my captain because Salah is benched. You don't know that Salah is benched. Can we not put in the chat that someone knows that Salah is benched and all this shit? Because we don't factually know. It's a dangerous thing to put in the chat. I'm not expecting a hat-trick from Mason Greenwood. But yes, that's the player I bought. For those joining late, my screenshot is unfortunately not up to date. I have bought Mason Greenwood for Phil Foden. Mohamed Salah is my vice-captain. Heung-min Son is my captain. Chris Wood says, good morning, James. Should I get Lamptey in for a 1-week punt or play one of Ayling or KWP? I guess you're looking very short-term then, Chris, so I think that's absolutely reasonable. Ayling is probably the one to bin because of value. Both have good fixtures next weekend, so I think probably Lamptey for Ayling there. Shane Mibb, McCarthy or Ryan to start. Matt Ryan will not start. Graham Potter said that Sanchez will play. Playing goal again for Brighton. So you're going to be with McCarthy, mate. Vish, would you jump quick on players you know definitely want for wildcard team 16 if they're rising soon? It depends, right? So this is something I've thought about. I spoke about this on the podcast yesterday about if I'm not sure what to do, buying someone who I can eke the value out of. So I was actually looking at trying to get value possibly out of Neto if I'd have bought him and get 2 rises out of him before selling him on the wild card. It was not something I considered. But I took a decision that for me to get Mason Greenwood in was more important for the points, basically. Charlie Allsbrook, morning James, want a 2-week punt before wild card, downgrading Vardy, debating Richarlison or Martial. Any other alternatives? You want a 2-week punt for wildcard, downgrading Vardy, debating Richarlison or Martial. Any other alternatives? I think between the two of them, I'd want to lean into Martial, actually. Just because the potential to that to be quite high scoring tomorrow. I don't think Everton and Arsenal will be high scoring. Pushcar says, request, since it is one of the most requested pods this season, how about doing the Monday chip strategy for game week 18 and 19 live on YouTube? Interact with the direct questions post pod. There'd be too many questions, is the honest answer. And what we want to do with that podcast on Monday is cover all the angles. And if there's something that I miss angles-wise, feel free to message me afterwards and I'll happily go through it with you in terms of a strategy that we may not have considered. So in terms of the way we do our podcast, interacting directly with mountains of YouTube chats like this is not going to work. We want to lay down our ideas and strategy ideas for people in different scenarios. So that wouldn't work. And it's also the difficulty, unfortunately, of doing that. We could set it up manually. We're not going to, though. It is a reality. We wouldn't be able to interact with the YouTube crowd. It's better that we get a proper podcast detailing things properly, in my opinion. Colm says, morning Sean, morning James. De Bruyne to Son for a free transfer. We'll wait till Spurs play Fulham to make the change. I wouldn't remove De Bruyne for Son this week, personally. I don't think I'd buy. If I had De Bruyne, I'd just stick the armband on him unless I had Fernandes this week, it's my opinion. I actually think Man City might get beat today. That's the prediction I'd given to the patrons. I think Southampton will win. But I'm also aware that I can be wrong at any time and Kevin De Bruyne can go off in any game. It almost doesn't matter with the fixture with him. Mark Byrne, why Son? Hardly any shots on goal recently. I mean, Mark, Spurs don't regularly have shots on goal, do they? It doesn't matter, does it? He's the safest play for me, in my opinion. So it was Son or Grealish for the captaincy, considering the doubts around Salah. So Son for me. The most power to go off. And look, he's in so many teams now as well, and not many are going to captain him. So I'm ahead of everyone else this week if he does return from Heung-min Son. Not everyone, obviously, but a large majority of people. Certainly in the Twitter crowd, not too many will stick the armband on Son. Do I think he's going to go off tomorrow? No, but he's the safest play for me. I think it will be a low-scoring game. I think West Brom and Villa will also be low-scoring. I even think Palace and Liverpool will be quite low-scoring. Son's the safest play for me to go. Edwin Guan, hello James, I like your hat. Cheers. Start Soufal, Souček or Dallas. So Souček from me, mate. Eric Fordham, hey James, currently on Vardy, thinking of taking the 2-week punt with no money, no issue. Who would you go for, thinking Firmino or Martial? Or do you feel holding Vardy is a better option? If it's money, no issue, Roberto Firmino is such a bad choice for FPL. But if it's 2 weeks only, I don't mind Roberto Firmino actually, Eric. Rickwick1998, Ryan out for Johnston. If you've got no goalkeeper, then it's worth considering if it's for free. Don't do what I did stupidly a couple of weeks ago and take a hit for a goalkeeper. Bruce with lots of numbers says, morning my man, I used my free hit by accident. No banter please, still hurts. Cool Bruce. So I think I should slowly bring in blank game week players. Got 2 free transfers to Jamal Lewis for a non-bench fodder. Sounds good. If you've got 2 free transfers, only use 1. This is the first thing I'd say. Rolling is a really good idea this week, guys, because we might get some information on Burnley and Manchester United on Thursday. It's not to say we won't get the information later. It's not to say we won't get the information before. And it's not to say we'll get any information. But I think after Man United play at Everton in the Carabao Cup, there is a possibility we might get some information on Burnley versus Manchester United in terms of the rearranged fixture. Now, if United lose to Everton, that game could be played on January the 6th. If they don't, there's a possibility, either result, that the game could be played on January the 13th. Just be very conscious of that at the moment. But Jamal Lewis would probably be a good one to move on. The only thing is, I mean, Jamal Lewis has got Sheffield United away in game week 18, Bruce. So I'm not sure if you're targeting blank game week players. I'm not sure that that's one you necessarily want to get rid of. Admittedly, look, you've got Arsenal in game week 19. If you're not looking to bench boost, then you can just leave Lewis on the bench in 19. So I'd reassess that, Bruce. Jonathan Sonny and Moses start Cresswell or Taylor. That's a little easier one to just go Charlie Taylor, I think, at the moment, and hope Burnley get you a clean sheet. Omar says Dallas or Walker Peters. So this isn't going to be helpful. So for those joining late, unfortunately, that screenshot is of my team of last week updated. Has it even got this week's fixtures on it? No, it is last week's fixtures. That's a little bit helpful. Yes, it's an old screenshot. So I've got Walker Peters second sub, Dallas third. So if Ruben Diaz is rested, for example, then I've got Walker Peters coming in rather than Ayling. So I'd go Walker Peters personally. Dragon says best defensive option under 5.5 for the next 2 weeks before our wildcard. Thinking Matip, James, Dyer. Got Cancelo. Who do you prefer? Cheers. Villa player first and foremost, genuinely, with West Brom and Palace. I presume you can't get to Liverpool players. If you get some sort of information that Joel Matip is playing, that's the one I would like. It's Joel Matip would be the call. Birth Media, score prediction for United v Leeds. I'll go 3-1 to Manchester United. Ben O'Connell, worth the hit for Vardy and Ayling to bring Trent and Martial. Other option would be Ayling to 4.5 for just this week before wildcard 15. You're very short-term thinking there, Ben, so I actually think that's a -4 that could play for you. Don't mind that at all. Omar, you don't need to ask the questions twice, pal. Stian says, who to start, Podence or Watkins? You dropping these streams regularly, my friend. You know I'm going to say Ollie Watkins. Eric Fordham, sorry to ask the second question. I also could move Cresswell down to 5.1 or below defender with a better chance at clean sheet. Have 2 frees, so could do both. If you want to come down, Villa, as I've said, Charlie Taylor. It's not the worst run for Burnley either. Wolves, Leeds, Sheffield United, Fulham, the next 4. If you're looking a little bit longer term. Lewis Coles, why KDB captain over Rashford? Because KDB, any place, any time. That's my opinion. Jonathan Sunil Moses, chance for Spurs, clean sheet. 40 to 45%, roughly. Beal, is Salah going to get a rest today? I don't know. I don't pick the team. JP, captaining Salah. It's an old screenshot, my friend. Jovial, I want to transfer in Trent Robbo to replace Tellez for -4 because Oddie will play Luke Shaw today. Oh, okay. You know that factually, do. If so, crack on, mate. If you know something I don't. Francis Bellardi, hi, James. I got in Salah Kane as captain as well at the moment, replaced of Sterling and Vardy this morning. Cheers, Francis. Z21293, hey, James. Wildcard is 16, centre, punty mood. Salah, Brewster to Martial, Rashford, or Kane Greenwood. What do you think? I actually probably prefer Martial, Rashford, but you might not like the look of it when you get to next week and they've got Leicester away. That's the only thing I'd say. DJ Music Case, Liverpool lineup as Mohamed Salah rested and Naby Keita returns. No, the Liverpool lineup that you have heard has Mohamed Salah on the bench and Naby Keita rested. I don't have, and I've got my patrons all over various sources, I don't have a source that I trust. So please be careful putting that sort of information in the chat because people will unfortunately come in and take it as gospel. Yes, there are strong rumours that Mohamed Salah is going to be benched today. That is why please ignore the screenshot. He is no longer my captain. Pushcar says, what are we free hit game week 18 for? Get the best team possible, mate, and so we can bench boost in 19, and so we got a load of doublers in 19. No, I don't think we're wasting the free hit. We'll talk about that in a week. BB Tura, that's the game week 13 team on the video. Thank you, BB Tura. Yes, it is. I'm aware. Nigel Sam, I can't change it, unfortunately. Once I've started, I can't change it. Nigel Sam, what's the best plan, blank game week and double game week plan for someone holding their wild card? So I'm looking at free hit 18. Bench boost 19. We're going to cover that in a lot of detail on Monday. JP looks legit like. Maybe it does look legit. Andy Cairns, most boring transfer I've done for a while. Jorginho to Lookman. Elron Cupboard, hi James. Hope you're well. I've got Cancelo and Diaz. Benching Cancelo for Lamptey. I'm never keen on leaving premiums out from Liverpool or Manchester City. Really not keen on doing that. But I guess on paper, Lamptey versus Sheffield United. Cancelo away to Southampton. I think I'd play Cancelo, you know. Even though you would fancy Brighton for a clean sheet. And even though I think Manchester City might get beat, I'm prepared to think that I might be wrong. I don't like benching premium defensive assets from City, Liverpool. I would probably play Cancelo. Lewis James, morning, mate. What's your reason behind captaining Son instead of Salah? Well, Lewis, I know you've asked this question a while, so you will have heard my answer. Poster points. Hi, James, up the pod. That's a surgery statement, but don't mind that. Love the surgery, guys. Is swapping De Bruyne for Mane a good option or simply go template with Salah? Just De Bruyne. Crack on. Reassess next week. Jason Stilling, Kane or Bruno captain? I think Bruno's the best choice of everyone. Pogba plan makes Bruno less appealing. Yeah, there's an argument for that. Playing Leeds also makes him more appealing. Jamie Lamming, I'm foolishly swapped Salah for Mane when he had COVID. Held for a couple of weeks and been punished. Feel like Mane's drew a goal, but should I just get it reversed as I'm going to want him back for wildcard 16? No, consider that next week. Roll a transfer if you've only got one, mate. Adam Lewis, who would you captain this week? Bottom right hand corner of the screen. There's my preferences. So from yours, KDB. P.S. I'm a gooner and enjoy your content. Thanks, Adam. Good luck this weekend. I sort of mean it. FPL Warrior just logged on. My question was going to be whether I should do KDB's son, but see his second on your cap list. How come? Because I trust Kevin De Bruyne. Simple as that. Kevin De Bruyne had an XA of over 1 in the week. XG wasn't the best, but I don't think fixture's dependent. Have we all forgotten that Son's got a really difficult fixture? Honestly, if I had De Bruyne and Son, I'd stick the armband on De Bruyne this week. Genuinely. Son has fallen into a default captaincy for myself. No, how do you come up with top captaincy pick chart? Salah should be first. Yeah, there's a problem with that, no. Birth Media, Greenwood instead of Pulisic 2-game punt. I see. What pips it for him? It pipped it on specifically wanting to target a player for this week rather than just the 2 weeks. And therefore being in doubt that Pulisic plays twice because of the short turnaround of Chelsea's game week 15 and game week 16 fixtures, where I'm pretty sure that Christian Pulisic won't start twice. So that's what's pipped it. I want immediate return on this. And when I looked at it in more detail, I wanted to get a United player to play Leeds. The only one I could get to was Mason Greenwood. And I even know that comes with a risk with Cavani back fit tomorrow, that Greenwood could come out the team. But I think he starts. I have no problem with the way I'm set at the moment in potentially even leaving Greenwood possibly on the bench away to Leicester next week. My defensive fixtures next week are really strong. Hi, Luke Hopkinson. Hi, James. Would you get Walker to Trent? Still got the wild card. Don't trust Walker. If you don't trust him, you'll feel better about it. You might not have any trust in Liverpool either. Kurt Cobain. I'm going to skip that question, mate. Craig Gardner. Finally time to get rid of Mitchell and Barnes. Options with 2 threes. Curtis Jones and Robertson or Trent. 50-50 decision. Or James and Podence then to Armstrong as a punt next week with wildcard game week 16. I'd prioritise the Liverpool defensive boys personally. On the fixtures that they've got, I would slightly favour Robertson over Trent for the 2 game weeks only, but you could toss a coin on them. Cyril L, who should I captain? I'm not going to answer captain questions, guys. Bottom right hand corner is a little tip. I understand why you might be asking because my screenshot's wrong, but my captaincy picks are correct and up to date. Lewis Coles, cheers for the answers. No pros. Mikolaj says, how many players do you reckon are worth bench boosting in double game week 19? Currently on 9, could get up to 13. I mean, for me, the answer to that question is probably 15. To be honest, it's more a case, Mikolaj, of like your budget players and what they have. So you can obviously go through that week with Son and Kane, for example, who've got Sheffield United, and it can feel very reasonable for you. You might have a Wolves player, West Brom at home. If you're sitting there with Neto, thinking, well, he's got a great good one fixture, I'll carry that through. Just bear in mind that's a derby. But it's having the cheap guys from teams like West Ham, Leeds, Southampton. That's probably more important in the final decision than what the actual numbers are in itself. Neil Kager wants to say hello to everyone. Danny Burns, Diaz to Trent. If it's free, I don't mind it. Mikolaj said, also, would you start Nico today? As in Nico Williams? If I have Bellerin and Soufal on my bench, could bring in Taylor. Nico Williams is only likely to get you a 1-pointer if the game's quite comfortable and Liverpool want to take Trent off, I should imagine. Otherwise, no. I don't foresee Nico Williams getting you anything more than a 1-pointer. From that lot, I'd probably go Bellerin. There's obviously a doubt whether he or Maitland-Niles plays at right back / right wing back for Arsenal. But that's probably the call I'd make. Colm, just in case you didn't see it before stream started, James, Moyes presser was on not long ago. Basically gave no info, surprisingly. Thanks, Colm. Vikram says Martial or Richarlison for Vardy for the next 3 game weeks. Next 3, I'm adding another fixture on now. Probably still Martial. Reluctantly, it'll frustrate. Karawa says, my strategy, have at least 9 players in game week 18. Carlitos DM. Hey James, what do you think of Martial captain for a bit of differential? Also, what defender 4.9 or below should I get for long term? Wolves defence. I don't know. When you say long term, it's really difficult to answer because I don't know what your strategy is. Martial's a differential captain this week. It means 8th on my list. I don't hate it if you've got a real impulse for that, and perhaps maybe if that's the only Manchester United asset you've got, don't mind it at all. Longer term defensive transfer. Burnley, but then they blank in 18 and double in 19. So Charlie Taylor potentially, but I don't know if that answers any good to you, mate. You need to know what your strategy is. Alden Bjerk says, morning James, what's the thought behind having KWP second sub, Alien third? I'd have them the other way round. To be honest with you, quite simply that I think Southampton will beat Manchester City today, and I think Man United might end up being the highest scoring team this game week. That's the answer. The thing is with Alien as well, why he's covering at centre back, the only potential of an attacking return you've got from him is from centre back, so you're relying on the clean sheet. Whereas Walker Peters could concede and he might still get an assist or so. So that's the thinking. Isaac says Son and Dyer in and Zahar and Robertson out. -4 have Kane. Not keen on that unless it solves the captaincy problem for you. FPL Warrior play 1, Sufal, Dallas or Taylor. Charlie Taylor for me, Warrior. Sabisi 1. Hi James. Would you make a half-hour's deadline, by the way, guys? Would you make a transfer from Brewster to Bamford? I have Harrison with 2 free transfers. If that helps make your team stronger this week, Patrick Bamford is one of them that kind of falls in line. Don't worry too much about the fixture. I don't think you should force him in this week away to Manchester United, personally. I've also got a little bit of doubts about his playing time, actually, over this Christmas period in terms of are they slowly, with Pablo Hernandez back fit, is there a case for playing Rodrigo in Bamford's position and having Hernandez and Click behind Rodrigo and Rafinha right and Harrison left? I'm a little bit cautious of that. I'm not saying I think Bamford will be dropped or anything like that, but I'm cautious in the coming weeks that might become a possibility. But yeah, if you can do it for free, it's absolutely fine. J Lodge, hello mate. Telles and Werner to Dunk and Kane for free. Or is Telles, Suchet and Werner to Dunk, Giroud and Rashford for... do you know what? When I get these questions, I'm always going to pick the easier one to read. First option, mate. Kurt Cobain, why is the game say 14 but the fixtures for 13? It's because, unfortunately, when I started the stream, it appears to have uploaded my screenshot from the previous week, and I now cannot upload it, unfortunately. So, for those joining late, Heung-Min Son is my captain. Mason Greenwood has been brought in for Phil Foden. Mission Fit, sorry I'm late. Any Konsa news? Good replacement. News on Konsa is not easy. He's obviously missed the game in midweek with illness, and he's going to be assessed up until kick-off, basically. It's not COVID related. He has a small illness. So he could be back, he might not. I think Villa will leave a decision late. My instinct would be that Courtney Hall probably plays again, would be my instinct. I don't think there's a necessity for them to force it unless he's 100%. Super Tiger, hi James. Which 3 to start from Konsa, Lamptey, Zuma and Cancelo? So you stick Konsa in, probably. Actually, to be honest, that probably makes the decision easier for you, doesn't it? Cancelo I wouldn't leave out. Zuma I wouldn't leave out. Lamptey's got slightly better fixture than Konsa, and obviously a little bit more attacking potential, though Konsa's always a threat from set pieces. I think because of the illness, probably leave Konsa out, to be honest. Ilya says, your thoughts on Rafinha? Good player, extremely unlucky not to return in the week. I think he had 5 efforts in the box, I want to say. On Wednesday, so it was really unfortunate not to get attacking return. Very decent pick. Sharif QB says, hello, good morning. Captain Kane or Sterling or Grealish or Bruno? Sharif, bottom right-hand corner of the screen as my top captaincy preferences for the week. Badman says, hit the like button, help the man out. Thanks, Badman. Do what the bad man says. Hit the like button. Help the man out. Edwin Gran. I miss Chunky Chips. Bring it back, please. We might on Monday. FPL Classico. Leeds don't tend to defend well, but Man United's home form isn't good at all. In their 6 home games so far, they've only won once. In those 6 games, they've only scored a total of 3 goals. That's correct, mate. And 2 of them have been penalties as well. I'm not interested. So the last home games have played. West Brom was obviously a bit of a struggle. They sat very deep. Arsenal are deep. Chelsea and United cancelled each other out. Tottenham, they got battered. They had a player sent off early. Crystal Palace had a really bad day. That was game week 2, and you have to remember they had pre-season late. What's the game in there that I've missed? Manchester City cancelled each other out. So they've had 4 of the big 6 in those fixtures. No teams had more shots than Leeds in the last 4 game weeks. And no teams conceded more shots than Leeds in the last 4 game weeks. They have a massive problem with height defensively. So I think like Harry Maguire, you want a 1 week punt defence, you got the money for Harry Maguire? Fancy him tomorrow, to be honest. Bossman525, morning mate. Planning on free hitting game week 19. Maximise the first 11 double game week. That's absolutely reasonable strategy if that's your choice. Wattsman's Prime, what is the best fixture? Brighton versus Sheffield. Bring Brighton player or Newcastle. Newcastle, because they've got Fulham at home. Problem with Newcastle's fitness issues is I'm not keen on that. What you're trying to sell, Optimus? 1 week punt, Brighton, Lewis Dunk. Tom Hyom, hello my friend. Morning James, good luck for the game week. Charlie Taylor Aliowski, leads the worst defence but the better double game week 19. Both 4.4 million, but Taylor due to rise soon. Both have decent fixtures in the lead up to. If you've got 1 free transfer, Tom, and you've got defensive cover, I would roll. If you're trying to get to double game week 19, yeah, see the other benefit is, as I've said earlier, Burnley could land with a 17 double of Fulham at home, Manchester United at home, if we get an announcement, which will probably be Thursday. If we do, you need Manchester United to lose to Everton for that to be a possibility at all. So I'll try and roll, Tom. You might have more information this time next week. I am Jesus for the next 3. I can't bear that fella. I can't bear him as an FPL asset. He is way too much money for a player. Even with West Brom at home, you don't feel like you could put the captaincy armband on him. Doing my head in, and Aguero's back fit. Not for me. Chances are Aguero plays against Newcastle or Everton, I would say. To be honest, I think Aguero is more likely to play against Newcastle. So no. Jaseen Jazz, hi James. What about Wilson for the armband against Fulham? Good luck with the game week. Captaining a Newcastle player. Never for me, I don't think, mate. Sai Sirius says, who do you think is a better option between Soufal and Cresswell? That's money dependent, isn't it? Cresswell's the better option, but he costs a lot more. Soufal is probably the one I'd be going to if I had to go there. Sharif QB, Kane or Grealish for the armband. Preference is Harry Kane. Bottom right hand corner's a Klo. Jonathan Ajal, I'm not interested in your team, mate. Bruce, awesome. Cheers for that, dude. Think they're playing Lewis over Dallas for this game week now. Other 2 playing defenders, Chilwell and Target. Sounds decent, mate. Nigel Mendonca. Who do I start between Podence and Trossard? If you don't feel you can start Leandro Trossard at Sheffield United, you should think of moving him on, really. Does he start Trossard? How long's a piece of string? 50-50. But I'd probably gamble that, Trossard. Brighton are going to be an absolute nightmare for the next few weeks. You're never going to know their team from one game to the next. Charlie Malone, morning. Terrified to not own Rashford versus weak Leeds defence this week. Would you free transfer KDB out to get Rashford in? I wouldn't, Charlie. Annex says, start Anguissa or Eze? Eze. Don't worry about the fixture. Play that guy. He's a fucking baller. Noel says, Vestergaard or Dallas or Taylor. Who to sub? I think you pick Taylor out the 3 of them, don't you? And then I'd probably go Vestergaard over Dallas in terms of order. Ray Qureshi, hello mate. Morning James. Who to bench out of Dallas and Justin? Good luck with this game week. I'd bench Dallas. Play Justin actually. Pushkar says, another idea popped in my mind for 2-week punt. Vardy and Justin out. Firmino chill win for -4. Already own Reece. You're full of ideas, Pushkar, aren't you, my friend? Victor Sandberg, bring me joy that you have KDB as second captaincy picks, as I got him. I'm thinking 20-point game week. Good luck this game week. I don't know about that, mate, but listen, any game with him. Bruce says, oh, sorry, dude, misunderstanding. I meant I'm bringing in Lewis for a non-playing bench fodder. Probably well late by the time you read this. So much love. No problems, mate. Shano83, Concert likely to miss the game, James. I covered that a little while ago. You probably heard, Shano. Ben Ayu, how many goals will Spurs score today? None. How many goals will Man United score today? None. Karawa says, there will be other more valuable than 19. You man are gassing up an ugly bird. How did you know, fam? Maneuver said, morning, James. Thoughts on Trent versus Robbo? Oh, man. It's a toss of coin, isn't it? I'm always slightly preferential to Trent, but I was asked the next 2 game weeks specifically. I'd go for probably Robertson slightly, actually, because of Palace's strength on the left side would be one reason, and West Brom not the worst on defending set pieces from Trent and stuff, although Robertson's obviously taking them as well, but I think he's more likely to get in on that side. So for the next 2, Robertson, longer term Trent for me. Adam Lewis, do you reckon Mendy will get minutes today? I'm going to guess that's Benjamin Mendy of Manchester City. My guess would be no. No, as an Arsenal fan, I think Aubameyang will score a hat-trick today, and he's my triple captain for today. Easy points incoming. I know that you're joking, Noel. Cal, morning, James. Benching headache this week. If it made you feel better, Noel. Cal, morning, James. Benching headache this week. Podence over Adams for the fixture. Adams over Podence for the form. Adams over Podence because he's likely to be Southampton's furthest forward player. Jay Adams for me, mate. Joshua says KWP or Dallas in big capital letters. KWP for me. Robski, morning, James. Will Lamptey start? I would think probably yes. James says, hi, James. Is Curtis Jones a good 2-week punt as first on bench? Owns Salah. Yeah, very short term, I don't mind it as an option. Longer term, I spoke about this in detail on the pod yesterday, that there's going to be a risk in that. Very short term, don't mind it. T-Tac got rid of Cancelo and Nico for Reece Williams and Trent. Already got Robbo going all in the next couple of weeks. Wish me luck. I wish you luck, mate. I wouldn't be surprised, though, that if Joel Matip is ruled out today, I wouldn't be surprised if Nat Phillips is the guy playing at centre-half. Aidan Doyle, should I save a transfer or take out McGinn? I'd leave it. I'd definitely leave it for tomorrow, I think. Prisic said, happy belated birthday. Cheers. I wish you have a great year and lots of green arrows. Thank you very much. I hope everybody has a good 2021. Karan, yet if your game week 14 team looks wrong, that's because it is. I've bought, for those joining late, I bought Greenwood for Foden. Hyun-Min Son is my captain. Robski and also KWP or Lamptey. I mean, that's a Lamptey, isn't it? Mahesh, hey James, Ward-Prowse, Target and Lamptey. Start 2, bench 1. Play Ward-Prowse against City from the set piece perspective. Target or Lamptey. I'd probably go Lamptey. That's not an easy one though. Ilya says, I have Soufal. Should I bring Taylor or Balbuena with double game week in mind? No. You've got Soufal, double game week in mind. Well, Soufal's great for the double game week. So I'm not sure if you're asking to remove him now. I'm not sure I understand the question. Taylor or Balbuena if it's short term, Taylor. Longer term, maybe Balbuena. But I mean, Suj thinks that Diop will be replaced by Balbuena if he's fit, but we might have that wrong. Information pod. Hi, I have Bowen, Joelinton, and Welbeck. Who should I bench? Grim. You love your sanitizer ones, don't you? It's probably Bowen. I'd play Joelinton. Jason, you're off. Hi, James. Best replacement for Watkins, 6.1 or less. Thanks. Wouldn't is the first thing to say. 2 really good fixtures, and they might frustrate you at the moment, but I haven't considered selling him for a second. Cheaper. Are they all a little bit more now? I'm not sure of the price. And Chadham's is 6, isn't he? Bamford is above that now, I think. I want to say. Fabio Silva of Wolves, possibly, is very cheap if you want to go down that route. I wouldn't get rid of Watkins. Al Dante says, lol, that's good. Pushkar, head's gone now. Pushkar, I'm not going to answer your question if your head's gone, mate. But you're considering 4th combination of transfer. Pushkar, you need to prepare better, mate. Vardy and Justin out for me, and Robbery -4. Why does FPL do it to us? I just fucking press submit transfer, pal. Miller Marsh, yo James, not an FPL question, so ignore if you want, but what are your thoughts on the championship so far? An excited Norwich fan here. Just very briefly, so you should be. They're doing very well, flying high. I noticed the 3 relegated teams are the top 3 at the moment. I can't pretend I've seen a lot of championship football this season. They're in a very strong position, and they look like they'll come back up. Benefits of keeping the majority of the squad together, I would suggest. Imre says, thoughts on my team? I'm not going to go through that, mate. Jonathan Ajal, should I bring in Maguire for Tellez for a -4? He could exploit Leeds' weakness on set pieces. He could. I wouldn't take a -4 for it, though. 1M, 1 go. Back 3 out of James, Lamptey, Conson, Matip and Taylor. Play Matip, play James, play Lamptey. Taylor over Conson, first sub. Good back line you got there, mate, for this week. Justin Dye, morning, James. Have a great day. You too, pal. Slaughter PFK. Hey, James, have a feeling Bruno is getting pushed out of scoring positions lately. With Pogba pushing up 3 forwards out there too. Cheers. Good luck. 15 minutes to deadline, guys. There's a good chance at this stage I may not get to your question, but I will do my very best to run through these as quick as possible. Nathan Ayres, my friend. Hope you're well, buddy. Ballsy, but I'm going DCL was captain. Our Spurs boys shouldn't pass comment here, mate. Danny Sane brought in Anthony Robinson as a cheapie for the doubles and a decent game this week. Okay, don't hate it. Generally, Fulham's on a double game week on paper is not the best. I'd say he's fairly nailed in that team at the moment. But it's United and Chelsea at home. I mean, I don't know what you're particularly expecting from that. But if it helps and you want to play him this week, I don't hate it as a move, Danny. Grayson, Fernandes or Salah captain. Fernandes, Anik, start between Eze and Anguissa. I've already asked that, Anik. Please not have repeat questions. Joe Finley Badder. Oh, looks like I've caught up with questions. Firing it today. Joe Finley Badder, worth starting Kilman on the off chance he starts. My other options are Dallas, Souček, Brewster. No, just play Souček, Joe, in my opinion. Whitebeard, thanks for the string, James. Quality as always. Good luck for the game week. Thank you, my friend. Hope you're well. Victor Sandberg, who would you start? 4 of them. Souček, Chilwell, Cresswell, Dallas, Taylor, Target. Souček, Chilwell, Cresswell, Taylor. Lucas Davison, Neto or Lookman in for Bowen as he's doubt for Monday. My understanding is Jared Bowen should be okay for Monday. He rolled his ankle in the warm-up before the Crystal Palace game. Unless some news has broken in the last hour or so, I think he'll probably be okay. But if you wanted to move between the two, depends on your thinking and part of what your longer term strategy is. Personally, if I'm buying one for this week specifically, I'd possibly go Lookman. Information period, thanks. I also think Bowen should be benched. Information period says Dunk or Taylor. Preference would be Dunk. He had 5 attempts in midweek, Lewis Dunk. Madness. That obviously won't happen again, but he's certainly a threat. In terms of Liverpool news, I have nothing concrete, personally. I'm not interested in the noise on Twitter. Size Serra, play KWP or Taylor. I mean, that's a Taylor job. Marco, Kane captain question, if you like that sort of thing. Ray Koreshi, non-FPL James. Personally, I find it difficult to see Bale in the first 11 with the intensity and energy levels Jose requires. Would like your thoughts, pal. Absolutely agree with that at the moment, Ray. But it'll come. There will be a time and a place. And come February, March, it might feel like a new signing. It's up to Gareth. I think he's playing with fear and needs to get over that first. He's only going to get over that by playing more games, to be honest. I think we will see a little bit of Bale over the Christmas period. I think, for example, like Fulham at home, he may well play. They might take a chance on that game. But yeah, intensity is an issue for him at the moment. It's because of the balance in terms of the work Bergwijn or Lucas does is really beneficial for Son as well, right? Information period, James. Any news about Antonio? No, none. Someone did say David Moyes had done another press conference this morning, which I wasn't aware that was a possibility. They said there was no news in it, so no, nothing. Wouldn't be buying him, mate. Uzi says sell Nico Williams for a hit. Well, who are you selling to, mate? Marco Mijoski, Kane or Salah? It's going to have to be Harry Kane, isn't it? Adeem, hi Adeem. Birth Media, Giroud or Adams to start? Giroud out of the two if you have to make that decision. Alan Hemingsley, what's your thoughts on Lamptey? He seems a bit injury prone going forward. The problem with Tarek Lamptey is looks like he's going to haul every single week and never does, basically, on the eye test. Adeem says bench Gross or Adams. I'd bench Gross, mate. Rubaid says Dallas or Sufal to start. I'd lean Sufal, personally. But I can understand if you want to keep Dallas in for the attacking potential, I don't mind it. Maneuver, which team are you most confident of winning this week? Most confident of winning this week? Probably Brighton. Actually, probably Brighton. And then I'd probably say Manchester United, actually. I think they'll have too much for Leeds defensively. Leeds are very capable. Very capable. Philip says, hi James, start Justin, Dallas or Adams. Going to be Adams for me, mate. And how would you have the subs? So then it'd be Justin, Dallas for me. Duvrak says, what about Werner? What about him, Duvrak? Frustrating. Good option potentially. I'd say a rotation concern over the Christmas period, i.e. he will be left out of a game somewhere probably. Elias says, have you wildcarded? Nope. Plan is to do that ahead of game week 16. Jassim Jazz, Martinez to Fabianski or just upgrade Foster to Johnston for game week 19. Is that Forster? Forster to Johnston for game week 19. If you look at bench boost, yeah, that'd be the way to go. Ryan Henderson, we too attached to City. Personally, I went from KDB to Mane for Liverpool double attack. More trust in Liverpool to score goals. To be honest, Ryan, that's absolutely reasonable if that's what you feel on what you've seen so far this season. Jordan Harrison, hi James, thoughts on Spurs versus Stoke this week? Hope you're ready for a wet, cold Wednesday night up at Stoke. I'll be ready for a dry, warm Wednesday night in my living room, to be honest, Jordan. Tough game. I think we'll rotate, but I think the Spurs team might be stronger than what people were anticipating as well. Like, for example, Bale will probably play, for example. Doherty at right back, probably Davis at left back. It will still be fairly strong. I'd expect one of Dyer or Alderweireld to play centre-half. I wouldn't be surprised if Hugo Lloris is in goal. I think the team might be a bit stronger than what people anticipate. We know that's going to be a tough game. We're not silly. We have a job to do. It's to go up there, win the game and leave. And that would be the intention. I would obviously be confident. I couldn't not be. Elias says, not fair, guys. More than hundreds question, only 47 likes. Support the man. Well, Ilya, I can tell you on what I see at the moment is now 49 likes. But yeah, if you want to like, subscribe, all that shit that I don't promote enough, be very appreciated. That's 50, 51. I'm guessing now. Anurag says, hi, Watkins versus Adams. I think on the fixture you go Watkins this week, don't you? Savage Frenzy XJ, Salah out for Bruno, free transfer. Don't mind it. You need to be aware you will want Mohamed Salah back. You want to reverse that transfer next week. Dennis Zanelli, Zaha or Pulisic? But if I was buying one, I'd buy Pulisic. Zaha was not a consideration for me, but I was thinking very short term in my decision making. Palace still have a difficult run of fixture, in my opinion. So I wouldn't mind a Pulisic punt, personally. Excuse me, Miller Marsh, play Zaha or Bowen. Both have horrible fixtures. I play Zaha. He's playing through the middle. I don't think Wilfried Zaha's ever particularly play you want to leave out. I would kind of think of him in my head a little bit like owning a striker. So he would play Zaha for me. Can't pronounce your name. Why are you captaining Salah? Everybody said it would be benched. So you've joined the stream a little bit late, so I'll explain. Unfortunately, if you look close in the detail of the screenshot, you'll see it's last week's screenshot. Unfortunately, the wrong screenshot's been uploaded. My captain is Heung-min Son. I have left Salah in the team. I bought Mason Greenwood for Phil Foden. That is my team. Orimus, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I took out Sterling for Aubameyang captain last week per your recommendation. Thanks, pal. Yeah, I presume when you're saying last week, I assume you're referring to game week 12. In which case, I apologise. But I think I was right. And you would have got the points in midweek anyway. Joe Finley Batter, ex-West Ham employee, said Antonio's in training but big doubt for Monday. Yeah, that would be about right, I think, Joe. Elias says, when are you wildcarding? I'm wildcarding before game week 16, mate. But I'll know my team before game week 15 even starts. Paul Sweeney, thanks for the great stream, James. Good luck, everyone. Cheers, mate. 6 minutes to deadline for me. Brew says, Kane or Bruno captain? For me, Bruno, mate. Sanaz says Sufal and Anguissa to come off the bench in case Salah doesn't play. I go Sufal, mate. Rubaid, will Salah start? I don't know. Alan's a piece of string, but there's enough doubt about it. Mujahid says Salah and Wijnaldum to be rested. Minamino and Keita to start. You are obviously Jurgen Klopp and you know what the team is. I don't have anything as yet that I trust. But yes, that is part of the rumoured team that I've seen, yes. Omar says Watkins or Neto. You don't need the sirens, my friend. The answer for me is going to be Watkins. Sigurd says, should I sub out Ferran Torres? Who do you want to buy, Sigurd? The answer, I go, yeah, sell him. Sell him. Sell him if you can buy a 4.4. Who do you want to buy? 5 minutes to deadline. Jonathan says, Johnston or Pope, do you trust big man Sam to keep a clean sheet in his first match for Villa? It wouldn't be a surprise, would it? But to be honest, you got Nick Pope. You play Nick Pope nearly every game. So play Pope, mate. Jassim Jazz, who would you fancy for double game with Pulisic or Rashford? Rashford. Pulisic, you can't be sure that he gets the 2 games. Rashford, you probably can with the layout of the fixtures. He's the most likely, a little bit like Son in the week, to expose Liverpool away in that game week. And Fulham away is obviously a decent fixture. So Rashford for me. Adeem Munawar, I also have Cancelo, so it's him versus Adams. So he says Martial for Vardy. Question. Yep, reasonable. Ilya, come on guys, 30 more likes at least. James deserves it. Cheers, Ilya. You're a very nice person. Thanks. Adeem says Captain Bruno or Son. I would captain Bruno out of the 2. Omar, Cancelo or Soufal on bench. I would bench Soufal. Neil Kiger, thanks James. Now I need to go back to bed. It's 5:55 AM Canada time. Good luck all. Hope you sleep well. I hope it's not too cold out in Canada, my friend. Anna says, hi James, I've got double Chelsea, James and Chilwell, but also have Lamptey and Diaz. Should I bench James and play Lamptey or bench Diaz? I would play both the Chelsea players in the first instance, and then I would play Diaz over Lamptey. Jovial Trent, a good option for double game week and fixtures before that over Robertson. I got a solution for that, Jovial. Go for both. 2 minutes to deadline, guys. Nerdish says, is Salah not going to start? What the fuck is rumours about? Yes, there are strong rumours about that he's probably not going to start. That's why I would not advise sticking the armband on him. But for those thinking of selling last minute panic, they've got West Bromwich at Albion at home next week, and he's going to be mass captained. I think he is don't buy, don't sell, don't captain. That is where I'd sum it up. Josh Smith, Bruno or Kane for captain. Clues bottom right hand corner, my friend Bruno. Shirish, what's your thoughts on Antonio? My thoughts are that he needs to be fully fit before West Ham risk him. Jordan Harrison, any suggestion for Vardy replacements in Sky, mate? Any suggestions for Vardy replacements in Sky? There's obviously escape options on Monday. If you haven't sold him yet, I wouldn't be selling him this week. And the fixture's not too bad. They look bad on paper, but it's not. If you look longer term, it's not too bad for Jamie Vardy. I've looked at ideas of actually getting him back in a few game weeks' time. So if you want the immediate benefit from that, you're looking at a player for Monday. Therefore, you should be looking at Chelsea. So Zuma, Reece James, that's not going to make sense to the FPL guys, but those would be the 2 that spring to immediate. Consider Timo Werner maybe. Neto of Wolves is another one maybe. Shove the funds around. Sagnick says Salah to Son for free, mate. I don't have any Spurs attackers and this is giving me nightmares. Do you reckon Spurs will smash Leicester? No, I don't. No, I don't. You want me to predict it? 1-0 Tottenham. You are going to want Salah back next week. Let it go. Damien says, is Telles or Luke Shaw going to start versus Leeds? I don't know, because I'm not only going to Solskjaer and I don't pick the team. A lot of the guys in the chat seem to think it's Luke Shaw. My assumption would have been that Telles plays again. Adeem says, I'm starting both Zuma and Chilwell. Good. Omar says, last week I triple captain for Mahrez and my vice was on Walker. Thank you, Pep. 1 minute to deadline. Jassim Jazz, what's the problem with Liverpool away form? Mane not getting the goals. Neither Salah particularly away from home. I think he's got one that wasn't a penalty in away games. Miller Marsh, cheers for the answer, James. Get ready for the return of a Pookie party next season. Good luck, my friend. Shrish says Vardy and Burke for Adams and Son for a hit. If you're considering that at this late stage, I want to say no, even if I like it. And I don't particularly. It can't be Vardy and Burke in for Adams and Son. Must be the other way around. If it's Adams and Son in, press submit. But I make it 11 o'clock now, guys. If you want to ask some non-FPL questions for the next 10 minutes or so, guys, I'm happy to hang about, have a little chat about some other football things. If you're leaving the stream, do hit the like button if you enjoyed the stream. Apologies that my screenshot is from last week. Shit happens. And I'm not a professional. Semi-professional. Patreon, you should probably wait till January now, so I don't want to promote it. But thanks for the patrons in the chat, and look, you help supporting a Planet FPL addiction, and it's my job now. That's why I say I'm semi-professional. I'm not professional on the graphics, etc. We won't make you a better FPL manager, but you will enjoy FPL more. Have a look at patreon.com/Planet FPL if you're interested. But it's nearly Christmas. You should probably wait till January now. Although there's plenty still happening in the next 2 weeks. I'll have a stream on Christmas Day. I don't fuck about, kids. It might be pre-recorded though. Miller Marsh, cheers for the answer. That's the one I've done already. Saint says, do you reckon Bruno's a better FPL asset without Pogba in the team? He might be. But then have we forgotten during the restart period that Pogba came in and then Bruno and Martial were great? We seem to have very quickly forgotten that. So we're judging this over a very short period where Pogba's building up fitness. Super Tiger, thanks for the help again, James. Really appreciate it. No problem, mate. Absolute pleasure. JB, hi, James from Down Under. Love your work. Can you tell me what are the silver stick man the Premier League managers wear on their coat labels? Always wondered. Good luck, take care. I can. It's for prostate cancer, mate. So that's what the stick men are. So you'll see that heavily promoted, particularly on Sky. I don't know if it's around this time of year or not, but you'll get a period where they're all wearing something, so be it the rainbow laces badge or kick it out, or that's what the man means. It's to promote prostate cancer and to make men aware to check their bollocks, basically. And you should, guys. Jonathan Ajao, sorry, saying 1 minute. I'm assuming that was before deadline. Ben Ayew, who's more likely to score this game with Werner or Souček? You got to say Werner, haven't you? Jonathan says, I hope Palace stop Liverpool from winning. United for the title. There's only one team, in my opinion, who can stop Liverpool winning this league, and they are from Manchester. And I'm afraid, mate, they wear light blue. And I don't think they'll get close either. Omar says, who is the best player from West Ham to the double game week 19? Souček. At his value, genuinely, I mean, he's the one who'd definitely be in for me. It's perfect. Use him as part of a bench boost, and then don't use him if I don't want to use him afterwards. Thomas Kowalski says, great streams, all the best. Thanks, Thomas. Martin Boyle, now for the better fantasy game. Brave enough for the Aubameyang punt in Sky. Okay, so I'll answer that, Martin. So I finally made a plan last night, and I'll talk about this a bit more on Wednesday's podcast. At the moment, there might be quite a few transfers happening short term and not many longer term. But the one thing I came to the conclusion of looking at planned transfers for Sky last night was that I think a lot of the decision making is going to be reactive. So right now, I'm probably selling Robertson maybe for Zuma on Monday. However, any player gets injured, they're going. Oriol Romeo is 1 yellow card from a ban. I'm conscious of this sort of thing. So I have planned moves that are staggered on potentially to go earlier, later. There's a lot of different things. At the moment, Martin, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang doesn't fit into the plan. Because the plan for me, while he has those fixtures, is probably running with Kane, Salah and Bamford. And therefore, Gabriel covers me on the captaincy in that game. It's likely to hit passing tiers in those two fixtures. Generally, I would like to get him. It probably just doesn't work out to remove and go back to the three guys that I've mentioned I'd rather keep. Bamford to Aubameyang doesn't work financially. If it did, fine, I would be interested. It's probably going to be a no, but I'm prepared for that to be flexible, Martin. You know, if I start getting injuries, suspensions and stuff, it could be that Aubameyang comes back into thinking. So I'm open to that. Ryan Welsh says, with Luis Campos leaving Lille after their recent takeover, what club would benefit the most from hiring him? Ryan, honest answer to that, I don't do bullshitting, mate. I don't know who Luis Campos is. So I won't bullshit. Joe Finney Badder, have you seen Ben Foster's YouTube channel? Videos are great and the guy's a legend. I have seen one of them, Joe, yeah. To be honest, it's one every week. I think I want to watch that and I always forget about it. But yeah, he does seem like a lovely bloke, actually. Luke Porteous, good luck, James. He's done me well over FPL over the years, actually, as well, Joe. He's not been a bad FPL player for me, Ben Foster. Jassim Jazz, do you think Jack Grealish can solve Arsenal creativity problem? Yeah, he can. He ain't going to fucking Arsenal, mate. I saw a rumour this morning that Everton have identified Jack Grealish as their #1 target. Sorry. Why is Jack Grealish going to go to these clubs? Jack Grealish wouldn't come to Tottenham, mate, so he ain't going to go to Everton or Arsenal, mate. Hey, 3 clubs in this country that Jack Grealish might end up at, and that's Liverpool, Manchester City or Manchester United. Or if Chelsea decide to get the money out, which I don't think they will, considering what they've done. So, and I wouldn't be surprised, you know what? Jack Grealish loves Aston Villa. I wouldn't be surprised we start next season if Jack Grealish is at Aston Villa. Wouldn't be surprised at all. But he's only going to the powers in this country. And at the moment, I'm afraid to say, Jassim, Arsenal are not one of them. Josh Smith, I'm not afraid to say. I may be afraid for you. Josh Smith, thanks for all the help. When's your turn on the FPL show? They don't want me, mate. I've got no filter. To answer your question, maybe in the new year, my friend, possibly. Camberley Lobacta, thank you as always for the content. Have a nice weekend. Thank you to you too. Super Tiger, with Moyes on record saying he'd changed his mind about 5 stars, but the club voting against it. Does it show a disconnect between board and manager? It just shows that Sullivan, Gold and Brady ain't got a fucking clue how to run a football club. That's the reality. Yeah, the information's not been passed on correctly is obviously exactly what's happened there. Simple as that. Yeah, I haven't got long enough for West Ham. That's what Tottenham or patrons for. Bloomer says, can Sheffield United avoid relegation? Your thoughts? Can they? Yes. We spoke about this on the pod yesterday a little bit. I think they need at least 3 wins from the next 5. So time's running out. So they've got a dirty run after those 5 as well. That's the sort of run they need. If they can get up to 10 points by the time we walk into sort of, let's see, the game week 19 fixture with Tottenham, then they've got a chance. I mean, they need to get to 10 points by halfway, don't they? Let's be honest, they need to. Jordan Harrison says, was thinking of Captain Salah in Skyford today, but the rumours of him not starting, thinking of going on KDB. Any thoughts, mate? So yeah, that's the likely plan for me. Salah if he starts, obviously if he doesn't, KDB. Super Tiger, would you take a title win this season if it meant the Gooners win the Champions League next season? Yes. I love Tottenham more than I hate Arsenal. Adeem Manawar, let's be honest, are Arsenal going to be in the Champions League next year, mate? Yeah, I'll take it. Adeem Manawar says, what do you think about United home form still unbeaten away from home? They've had difficult fixtures. It's obviously shit. Teams tend to sit a bit deeper. It makes it more difficult to open opposition up. But I wouldn't be surprised if they go off in the next few at home that they've got, actually. Maybe not. Wolves and Villa more difficult. I think United might be the highest scorers this game, possibly. That game could be anything tomorrow. Bene, what do you think when do you think we might see Ndombele, Højbjerg, Lo Celso as a trident? How many midfields in the league would you say are better than them? It's a great question. As a trident, it needs Ndombele to be able to do more. It needs fixtures where Mourinho is not concerned about positioning in between fullbacks, centre-backs, because you can't expect... I know Tottenham basically played 4-4-2 against Liverpool in the week, and it's not unheard of. Did the same thing at home to Arsenal last season, not a couple of weeks ago, but in the restart period. It's just not unthought of to go that way. I think for the 3 to play together, the one thing you're doing is you're restricting Højbjerg's ability to go and win the ball, which isn't something particularly want to do. You ask him to do a more out-and-out sort of blocking, holding midfield role. Can it work? Could it be somewhere we get to? Yes, possibly. It might be something you might see at some point in the next couple of weeks, actually. I think that's the 3 that we'd like to get to. I don't think Højbjerg... You don't, as I say, you don't want to restrict him going and winning the ball, basically. And it must be said, although Sissoko is a bumbling fuck, he does such a good job for the team without the ball. Oh, look! My screenshot just updated. Oh, brilliant. FPL Captain, you superstar. He just DM'd me. Oh, fuck, I've just seen this. So, look, there's my actual team for this game week. There you go. We got there in the end. Super Tiger, in the jam window, what area would you want Spurs to strengthen? Realistic targets. Realistic targets. We won't be spending big money in January. I think that's fairly certain. We need another central midfield player, in my opinion. We need another right back, but that's not going to happen. Aurier's been doing really well. It's more the other fella's more of a problem at the moment when he has to play. Centre back cover is one. Dyer and Alderweireld have built up a good relationship now. It's probably not ideal if one's missing. Joe Rodon's basically ahead of Davinson Sanchez in the pecking order in the league now. So I suspect Tottenham won't go there either. I think there's a high chance Tottenham won't do any business in the winter at all. But another central midfielder to take the burden off Højbjerg Sissoko. Because Winks, he's a very different footballer. And actually you might see a bit of Harry Winks over the Christmas period, where there's some games where we might have a bit more of the ball and stuff. But we need... I think Tottenham need an out-and-out anchor. Someone who can really sit. I'd love Tottenham to make an offer for Romeo. I really would. I'd love Tottenham to make an offer for him. I know age-wise, he's not great. But I think because of that and contract situation and Mourinho's short-term thinking in everything that he does, i.e. it's not a 10-year plan with what he's doing, I would love Tottenham to ask for Romeo. Is that realistic? I don't know. But there's a lot of guys. I speculated on the podcast yesterday about Vestergaard looking at Liverpool looking at Vestergaard, for example. So this is always a danger for Southampton when they do really well, that people look at their players. So I don't know if is Romeo realistic. I don't know. If we ask the questions and it's short term for 18 months or 2 years, I think that would be a very decent signing for Tottenham. I would always generally want younger players, but I'm accepting what I'm getting with Mourinho at the moment. Jonathan says, I love Arsenal struggling. Do you think they're in a relegation battle? They'll be absolutely fine. Not in a fucking relegation battle. There's 5 teams definitely worse than them. In fact, to be honest, there's 6 or 7 definitely worse. Super Tiger in the January window, as one we just did. Adeem says, I'm a United fan and it's driving me nuts. It may well keep driving you nuts. JK, top stream, mate. Appreciate it. Taking us through lockdown the best way past. Cheers, JK, no pubs. BS a switch from Salah to Bruno last minute. Rav says, Diaz to Soufal next week. Just watch some fucking football, mate. Chill out. Already thinking about next week. Look, you ain't going to have a clear indication if Diaz plays against Newcastle until probably the League Cup game's gone. I suspect that Diaz probably plays against Everton and not against Newcastle, but second guessing Pep, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if you get the team today and Laporte's back in it, for example. Nissel says, wrong game week. As you can see, FPL captain's in. Graphic updated. Sorry, mate. Completely my fault. Not your fault, mate. We appreciate everything you do on the graphics, mate. Thank you. I should have noticed. Would have been handy as well. Rob Tilson, hey man, loving the content. Could you do a cheap defender rotation strategy going forwards to game week 29? No, I can't. Because I haven't looked that far ahead. It depends on your strategy. Really depends on your strategy. And the other thing to factor in there is that game week 26 is likely to be a double game week, / there might even be blanks in there. It's going to be awkward. So you can't look that far ahead, I don't think. If you want to DM me, feel free, but I'm probably not going to respond in any urgency. I've not looked that far ahead. Rob Tilson also just stick the football on the TV from the get-go this week. Yeah. Joe Philly Ballet, it's updated. HK Diaz at risk of rotation. Always. Joe Philly Ballet. Yes, captain. Arav Milan Skriniar. Yeah, he's definitely on the radar. It might be too much for this particular window. Jonathan said, the best team lose on Wednesday? No, I covered that in detail on yesterday's podcast. I'd really recommend having a listen to that yesterday. I spoke about Liverpool Tottenham and people's opinions on the game quite a bit. JK agreed on Sissoko. Reminds me of Traore for Villa. Frustrating to watch, but bumbles his way through. Traore is a better footballer than Sissoko. Or do you mean the previous Traores that you had? Ollie says, Grealish captain question. Deadline's gone, mate. Eulogio, another Arsenal L1 predicting. Good luck, mate. I would have said yes, but I think Alan's a big miss for Everton, so I think probably be a draw. Super Tiger, with the financial difficulties at Lille, have a look at their players and watch the Jan window for moves for their players. Yeah, I do need to do some investigating on a few of the French teams. It's part of the plans. There's just so much football at the moment. Paul Jones, Salah to Bruno, done. Good luck, Paul, my friend. Ollie says Grealish is going to be well rested compared to other picks. Adeem says, cheers, mate, you're doing a great job. Thank you, Paul. Much appreciated for the pod streams, etc. as always, James. Top job and some amazing content to keep us going through lockdown. Cheers, fella. Frank Sherman, thanks for the content. As always, that will be the last comment. Thanks, guys. So in terms of content, there's still a lot happening this week. So Monday, we're going to do a real big pod special on chip strategies and looking at not just obviously kind of the popular free hit 18, bench boost 19. We're going to look at people without free hit, people with free hit, people with and without first wild card. We're going to look at different ideas of how best to manage the complex fact we're coming into this period and we've still got well over half a season to go. Tuesday will be main podcast. After obviously the Monday night games, we'll review all of the game week 14 action. Wednesday will be our Sky podcast coming into a massive period. Thursday's clash of the correspondents will be Leicester versus Manchester United. They both have a double game week in game week 19. Big game next weekend with Aaron Lagor and is my cap plan. That will be on Thursday. The plan at the moment is to find a way to do a stream on Christmas Day. It might end up that I end up having to do that stream on Thursday and put the audio out on Christmas Day. But if I can find a way to do a stream on Christmas Day, I will. That's going to be awkward because I'm not even going to be in my house. But I'm trying to figure out a way that I might be able to do it. If I can, it's likely to be early, i.e. morning or lunchtime rather than late. There's also a possibility I might have to go early on Thursday. But there will be some form of stream this week. Content for the patrons will be Monday is Q&A. Tottenham on Tuesday. Focus on Tottenham and West Ham. Wednesday's going to be a nostalgia pod. We're going to look at some of the best Christmas fixtures of Premier Leagues gone by. Thursday's quiz. I haven't decided the theme yet. Friday will be on Christmas Day, the differential show. That one will definitely be pre-recorded. And just a note as well, guys. I know it's quite far ahead, but we will have a podcast out at midnight at the end of game week 15. Basically, Tottenham play Wolves at 7:15 UK time. And as soon as it finishes, me and Suj are going to record the podcast. From there, the intention is to have the video on YouTube and the audio out on Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, all that other jazz for midnight. That's the intention because obviously the game week deadline for game week 16, I think it's, I want to say 1:30. But the intention is to have that podcast out on YouTube and audio platforms at exactly midnight at the end of game week 15. Right, thanks very much, guys. Enjoy the weekend. Hope your arrows are green. Speak soon. Ciao for now.